Hour 2 of Late Night Health continues. In studio, we have the authors of Vincent the Artist from Hollywood, California. They're film producers and writers. Vincent Wiley and Deborah Romero. Guys, thank you for hanging with us.
Thank you so much. It's so fun.
Great to be here.
Glad to do that. And we're going to go to Australia, where we have Donald Wood. He's written an interesting book called Beating Cancer with the Help of Einstein. Don actually has it's a sad story, at least it is to me, but at the same time, he's dedicated his life to helping others. From Australia, what city in Australia are you in, Don?
I'm in Sydney on the northern beaches, a beautiful place to live.
Oh my goodness, we're coming down, we'll be there for dinner. But
I can't imagine that.
it might not be for 2 or 3 days, though. Don, tell us the story of Jean and her treatment and how it all worked.
Well, it's a dramatic story, really. She's on an aeroplane going to South America, and she complains of very serious pains, an unusual sort of sickness. Anyway, they call for a doctor on board, and three of them came forward, but there's nothing they could do. The medical kit was in Spanish. And to make a long story short, she's carted to the hospital in Auckland and diagnosed with a terminal cancer, a melanoma as big as a fist on her liver, of course, which we knew nothing about, of course. But and there's no cure, no treatment. We eventually got her stabilised enough to come back to Australia, and they gave her a maximum of 3 months to live, but expect death on. There's no cure.
Basically, they said.
Days.
Basically, they said take her home and let her die.
That's exactly right. There's no cure worldwide, or we believed that at the time. Then we started. We weren't prepared to die. Like, life was marvellous. We had money for the first time, and things were just great, and had a lovely family, and all of a sudden, this is the sort of thing that happens to other people, not people that are physically fit. Anyway, to make a long story short, because you're on the air, we decided not to quit. We said we're going to try all these alternate medicines, and we did some very interesting things. But one of them, which wasn't the most important, and the results are in the book, but one of them was so important that it was actually, as I was finishing the book, it was a feature that is necessary to avoid these diseases. I won't go into all the details, but an interesting thing happened in our concoction of alternate diseases, alternate remedy. Excuse me, I'm a bit nervous here.
Don't be nervous. You're doing great.
Thanks, mate. Anyway, one of them was a prantic treatment. The chap was giving a lecture in a town hall about half an hour away from us by fluke. The whole thing is about lux, including the cures. But the thing that happened to this fellow is what they call a prantic specialist, and we didn't know what it was, of course. You know, we're like all people with the Western medicines, we assume it's the only way to go. And he starts waving crystals at her. And I thought, well, this is a bit of a waste of time. But, you know, he's a very polite and very nice person. He was from the Philippines, this chap. And he says, look, I can't cure cancer. But he says, I can offer you a help. And we said, well, thank you for doing the best you can. And he said, well, you're going to get two reactions from what we've done. One will be almost immediate. You've got to go straight home. And the other one will happen to you on Thursday. Now, of course, you can imagine what we're thinking.
Right.
And anyway, we rushed home by car, as I say. It's only about half an hour away from where we were. And she did an ablution in the toilet, which was unrealistically in volume. It was just excessive, almost as though it couldn't happen, you know.
Right.
Anyway, on Thursday, she wakes up. Now, don't forget she's dying.
And probably not feeling well.
She's not feeling well, but she wakes up on Thursday and says, I'm going to go down the golf course and hit a few balls. Now, this can't happen. this just can't happen. She's a dying person. And I thought to myself, well, okay, I'll go down there with you. But she says, no, I'll just go and hit a few balls. Now, this is hard to get your mind around, but all this can be proven. It can be proven by myself, it can be proven by the family, it can be proven by the MD, it can be proven by the specialist doctors. We've got highly specialised people, as good as you've got in America, in Australia.
And probably some better, because they're a little bit more open to alternative health.
Well, we're not. We're not this way generally.
Right.
And we're on a limb. We're grasping at straws, really.
Sure.
And anyway, on Thursday we get up and she goes and hits a few balls of golf. Now, she appeared a lot more alert. But the last thing he said to us, he says, "I can't cure this pranic chap, Master Danny, it was called." Says, "I can't cure cancer, and don't forget, I can't cure cancer, but it will help." But on the Thursday, she's up hitting a golf ball and quite alert, like she's not giving the impression that she's dying.
I've got to interrupt, Don. Did she drive herself? I mean, you said she wanted to go by herself. I mean, she took herself?
Yeah, she drove herself. Yeah, she drove herself down there.
Wow.
And but what's interesting is, within a month, she's actually walking the course. And then we're waiting for the 3-month period when she's expected not to last that long. Well, that went on from 3 months, and it went on to 6 months, and she's absolutely acting normally. But, we've got back to the specialists. What's happening? They're doing scans on it, and CT scans, and all this sort of thing. And they said that the melanoma is still there. Now, I'm not trying to give the impression that she's hallucinating, but she's a very stable sort of an athletic sort of a girl, tiny little thing she was. Anyway, this went on, and 12 months goes by, and then the years start to roll by. Now, we can't understand this, and all the time the melanoma seems to be getting sometimes larger and sometimes smaller, but it's still there. So,
during this time, Don, have you changed diet, exercise? Have you done anything, or is it just the
we
one
made
treatment?
one mistake. We made one mistake. We dedicated our interest in never touching chemo, which seems so ridiculous to us, because it just seems so ridiculous to poison your whole body to try and kill a disease in a particular part of the body. And so we never did it, but she elected to get, after about 5 years of good health. I mean, she's playing to a handicap. She's walking the golf course, and one of our golf courses, 20% of it's on a hill. They're big hills. This is strenuous work, and life is perfectly normal. So we just can't understand what's happening, so we don't. But we made one mistake. I think we made one mistake, but she elected to be involved in a trial in Brisbane. And we didn't do our homework properly, and after doing about 3 or 4 of these trials that they were experimenting with, she came out of the car, and this is all in the book. Came out of the car and said they've changed the amount of chemo. And I stopped the car and I thought, we swore we'd never touch chemo. Now, what happened was that we hadn't done our homework properly. And anyway, sometime after that she died.
Our guest is Don Wood. He's the author of Beating Cancer with the Help of Einstein. We have to ask about that, don't we?
Yes.
How old was your wife when she was diagnosed?
With cancer, well, she was very ill. She's dying.
Right. At what age?
She's about about 74 at the time, roughly. No, correction. You'd go back 5 years earlier than that.
She was 69. She was 69.
Yeah, 60. It's about 69, yeah.
69. We're talking with Don Wood. Do you have a comment, Deborah?
I just wanted to say how heroic of you to write a book and share your pain with other people that can also get help from it. I wanted to also ask you about how you felt about those crystals later.
Yes, well, I can tell you, frankly, we thought it was a lot of hoodoo, a lot of rubbish. But a person that's got these skills, like he was giving his lectures to a packed audience and so forth, and he was a well-educated, nice fellow. He wasn't, he was just like the fellows that you're talking to in your office now. There was nothing, and you can't sort of be offensive and say this is ridiculous. But that's how we all. That's how we're all brainwashed in the Western world.
You had a quick
we think that the only solution has to be medical, and it's wrong. And I went on to prove after this. I did a deal with the wife, Jean. I said, well, I don't know how long you're going to last, but I promise you, and she insisted on it, that I would find out what we did. And that's what the book's all about.
Our guest is Donald Wood, Beating Cancer with the Help of Einstein. We're going to find out about the meaning, Einstein, in just a couple of moments. Don, I'm going to ask you to hold on for a moment or two, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion. Coming up in about, 12 minutes or so, Catherine Stengel, the publisher of Jinsen Jitsu, will be joining us, and we'll find out about her form of alternative health and healing that you can do to yourself. That'll be happening in just about 14 minutes from now here on Late Night Health. Don't go away. More coming up. And please like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Late Night Health.